The Sony a7C is one of the smallest full-frame mirrorless cameras on the market, and we don't take that lightly. No pun intended. It's a sleek design, and it's the Sony body that doesn't sacrifice full-frame image quality and fits into a smaller form factor. It's a good side piece to your slightly larger Sony full-frame bodies, or it stands on its own. We had the a7C for about 2 weeks to put through the paces. Owning the Sony a7R4 and having used several other Sony bodies, both full frame and crop sensor, it was easy to jump in and be productive immediately with this camera. The menus and the terminology in the a7C are exactly what you would expect if you have used a Sony camera before. I want to take a second to let my members know about their exclusive video this week. It's all about how I'm doing my product photography in 2020 and into 2021, what I've learned, what I focus on, and what I don't worry about. Our process is a combination of settings, gear, and technique, all coming together. I go in detail and talk about some of the trade-offs I make to get high quality without spending all of my time on it. Product photography is very important for what I do, and I know that it's important for many of you, whether it is for your own hobbies and collections or something that you provide as a service to others. Members, there is a link below to find that video. Members also have access to my long-form photography courses, my photography ebooks, and more. So if you would like to learn more about channel membership, there is a link in the description for that as well. But back to the a7C. It's a 25 megapixel sensor, which for us is in the range where we're not worried about resolution or any problems with that. Yes, the a7R4 has a comparatively ridiculous number of pixels, 61 to be exact, and I see that as a strength for that camera, but I do not view 25 megapixels as a weakness for the a7C. The name of the game here is compactness, while retaining usability without compromising the quality of the image. Cameras this size normally have APS-C sensors, and that's quite fine. Fujifilm X series cameras are built around APS-C, and our Nikon Z50 is the little brother to our Z7 with APS-C and full frame respectively. Sony even has a similarly sized line of cameras that are APS-C, but with the a7C, Sony is firing a shot over the bow of that paradigm. They're giving you the compactness of APS-C, but enriching it with a full-frame sensor. This is going to make a lot of folks that I've talked to very happy. I know that there are a lot of folks out there who want full frame, but don't want the larger size. For some of us, we'll carry around whatever we need to get the shot that we have in mind. But that's not the case for everyone. I know many viewers that have wished for a smaller full-frame option. The color science of the a7C also seems identical to recent Sony bodies, so for multi-body shooters, where you might be out shooting an event or anything really with more than one body, you're not going to be compensating for one body's color versus another. And on a related note, the a7C shares the same battery as the a7R4, which is also the same as the Alpha 9, the Alpha 7S III, and a few others. So that's another reason why it's an ideal, smaller companion to those cameras. But now let's take a different perspective and put that Alpha 7R4 away for now. Let's look at the a7C as a solitary Sony body, maybe for someone new to the system or someone, like I mentioned before, who has owned their APS-C offerings but sees advantages in retaining the small size while stepping up to that full-frame sensor. You've got a small body set for all-day shooting. It does what we've come to expect from Sony, including eye autofocus and animal eye autofocus. Sony is the top of the line with their autofocus choices and performance, and the a7C is no different. I like using a lot of different types of cameras, but when fast action is on the agenda, our Sony body gets the nod. Now, there are a few things that are different on this body that did slow me down a little bit. You did lose the joystick on this smaller body, so if you lean on moving your focus area around with that joystick, you'll have a few extra presses to get to the point where you can move the focus area around with the directional buttons on the back of the camera. You do have a touch screen though, which helps compensate for that. The menu button is a little bit awkward for me to press when I'm holding the camera up to my face. Luckily, I don't use the menu button a ton because Sony cameras do have the function menu and so many configurable buttons. And this body is missing a front command dial. You have the rear command dial, and then the ring here on the back of the camera turns around to act like a command dial when needed. It isn't my favorite way to adjust settings, but I've certainly used other cameras like this. Overall, the features are there on the a7C, but if you've developed habits with the larger Sony bodies, as I have, you might notice that things work just a little bit differently, and it might slow you down just a little bit, at least at first. I know that there are viewers out there that will want a larger body. There are others of you, myself included, that can really appreciate the smaller form factor and lighter weight. For me, I'm active, hiking, running, biking, and I love having a camera with me for all of it. This body definitely gave me more freedom to do that without compromising anything. Speaking of the size, I will mention that this retractable kit lens, the 28 to 60 millimeter f4 to 5.6 that I borrowed along with the camera, it's a delight and it fits the form factor of the camera perfectly. If I were an a7C owner, I could see myself keeping the kit lens attached quite often and really using it like a delightful full-frame point-and-shoot zoom camera, but then breaking out a prime lens or a big telephoto lens when the situation presents itself. In fact, I was testing out the new Sigma 35mm f2 DGDN contemporary lens at the same time as the a7C, and I really enjoyed that combination. And I also felt comfortable using my 200 to 600mm super zoom lens. Nothing seemed out of bounds. These are great times when we can have a camera that delivers so much of the bigger camera experience in a small, lean, elegant package. And what's funny is that even these larger cameras I keep referring to are quite small, so it's all relative. It's not like the a7R4 requires its own larger backpack to carry around. But when you are shooting all day, size and ounces matter. Half an inch here and there and something lighter in a backpack for an all-day or multi-day adventure, those become non-trivial differences quickly. Let me ask you this. How do you look at these smaller cameras? As a primary shooter? As something to bring with you when your larger gear seems out of place? Or are you in the go big or go home camp? Those comments below are the perfect place to ask questions to me and also to other viewers, or to talk about how you like to gear up when small and light is the order of the day. I will add links in the description to the a7C and the lenses that I used with it, along with my gear reviews playlist if you want to check out more of my reviews of various camera brands. On your way down there, please give this video a like if you found it helpful or entertaining, and subscribe if you haven't already. Those are a big help for the channel. Thank you to Sony for lending me the a7C, and thank you for watching.